What do you feel now?
Stress.
Yeah. Where do you feel the stress? Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. Mainly my hands and my chest.
Yeah. In your hands and your chest?
Yep.
So if you move your attention down to your hands and your chest, and particularly into the chest, and just put your attention there and just ask it, what is it that you don't want? What is it that you're trying to avoid?
There's nothing really coming up, and also I feel a little bit like I'm in my head now, so maybe that's why.
Yeah. So there's nothing in which your mind keeps repeating a story or is trying to get out of or doesn't want to feel. The stress is just about nothing.
Yeah.
Is there something you're scared of or repetitively scared of that your mind keeps telling you?
I know I have a tendency to want to come across a certain way.
Yeah.
Mostly like in a good light, as a good person. I don't know.
Yeah. That's okay to want to come across as a good person and in a good light. But it's just that if you believe, if energetically you feel that one day you're going to arrive at this and that you're going to be loved, even though this is unconscious, then that puts too much pressure on being a nice person or being likable. But of course you're going to want to be likable and fit into society. That's what we do as humans. It's just this idea that you need to be likable in order to get somewhere. So now if you go into your heart area, is there a particular way you want me to see you? Just rest your attention there and just ask, is there a particular way I want her to see me? And just see what thoughts come up while keeping your attention in your heart.
Not problematic.
You don't want me to see you as problematic?
Yep.
What's wrong with being problematic?
The image of me as a like a person that is like easy to get along with is shattered. So like I think my tendency would be to just keep the aspects that I think might be not nice to myself, so I will have problem expressing anger, for example, or putting boundaries.
Yeah.
But then again, I think I come across as not authentic.
Yeah, of course you will if you're not expressing what you really feel. But it just depends how sensitive the other person is to be able to perceive it.
Yeah, I sometimes sometimes I can tell, but sometimes people seem to just don't care, or they may be just nice, so they.
Or more interested in themselves.
Maybe, yeah.
So just feel that area in your chest. That you don't want to be a problem. See if you can get in contact with wanting me to like you. It's not particular me, but just because I'm the one in conversation with you now. Of wanting to be liked. Can you do that?
It's quite a strong habit.
Yeah. Can you feel that you would like me to like you?
I mean, like, it's usually worked on a spiritual level, so I go.
Sorry?
But I get some pleasure from being so I'm right now the cost of not being up is
Sorry?
much bigger than
It's just cutting out.
Nice.
It's just cutting out.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's really crackly for some reason. It's most probably my side, the internet. Maybe can you turn your video off?
Turn it off?
Yeah. Thanks.
Is it okay?
Yeah, that's okay. So you're normally quite good at being liked?
Yes.
So now imagine, so now go into your heart area. Do you still feel stress there?
Yeah. I mean, my hands more.
In your hands?
Yes.
So just put your attention into your hands. And what do you mean the stress is in your hands? Like your hands feel sweaty or sore, or how do they feel?
And slightly shaking.
Yeah. You see, that's a lot of stress that your body's under. So go back to your heart area and put your attention into your heart. How does that feel in your heart?
Painful.
Yeah. Is there anything it would like?
I kind of feel like when you ask me to do to pay attention to my chest, for example, I kind of feel, and it's usually like this with other people as well, I'm doing this for you rather than it's a process that is going if you know what I mean. I'm trying to do this for you rather than
Because you want to. I don't understand what.
Sorry.
I don't understand what you're saying. You're doing it for me. What do you mean by for me?
It was a task, and you were grading me at school, kind of.
Yeah.
It's different than that, but yeah, kind of trying to please, maybe.
Yeah. And what do you want to get from pleasing me? What feeling do you want to get from pleasing me?
Validation.
And what does that make you feel like, validation?
Like kind of like temporary, I'm okay, but underneath that, even when it happens, underneath that, it's kind of like I have to struggle for it. So it's not like I feel content. I don't know if that makes sense now.
So you'd say roughly the feeling that you're trying to get is a feeling of being okay or content?
Yeah.
So how does it feel when I tell you that you're doing everything right? That you don't have to go anywhere. You've got everything right now. You are perfect the way you are. What happens in your body, and there's no wrong or right answer. If you hate me saying that, that's okay. But that you are loved and that you are getting life right. You couldn't get it wrong.
I can feel it in my heart, but at the same time, I think it's not true.
What does your heart feel like when you feel it? When I say it?
It's nice.
It's nice. But your mind thinks it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think, which one are you more aligned with? The one that says it's not true, or the nice feeling that begun when I said that everything is okay and you're doing life right?
The nice feeling, obviously.
Oh, you prefer the nice feeling? Yeah, that's good. Sometimes people prefer the bad thoughts because that makes them feel more comfortable. They're used to it. It feels more trustworthy than negative thoughts. You can trust them. At least you can't get any lower than the negative thoughts. You feel like with the feelings, with the nice feelings, with the relaxing feelings, you can have them taken away so they're not trustworthy. So we begin to throw them away already.
I can see why they do that.
Yeah.
Like I think it's kind of like I feel like it's a shame that it's only when you say it I feel that I can't do it myself. If that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a habit. The person is used to being someone, and when it's someone, it's always got to create a problem in order to seek. It's always looking for a problem to get over. So it itself becomes a problem. We're now living in a society where we roughly have enough food, shelter, accommodation, even though some of us are very poor in this society. We're not like India or really, really poor. We're poor in comparison to really rich people. But I always speak as if that I'm included in that, and actually I'm not included when I say that, but I always speak in general. But basically what I was saying was because we've got all our basic needs looked after, then we begin to create problems in ourselves. We're looking for problems to get over in ourselves. So we get into psychology or to spirituality, and then we become the problem. The I becomes the problem. The separate self becomes the problem, or the ego becomes the problem. And really, it's moving back to that presence where there is no problem. You are perfect. There is nothing wrong with you. You've never done anything wrong. You're allowed to feel difficult feelings.
Wait. So even when I did something wrong, like objectively.
Yeah, ultimately it's not your fault. You were programmed to be that way. On the relative level, you have to pay the consequences of it, and you have to feel the pain of what you've done. But ultimately, it's not your fault. You're not creating the thoughts and the urges. You were never asked to be born in that particular body with that particular structure. Maybe as consciousness you chose it, but on the personal level you didn't choose it. On the personal level you're helpless to the personal dynamics. So you're okay. And all of us have done things that are not great. I've done many things that I'm sorry for. Even after the awakening. I'm sorry for the fact that I don't buy clothes that come from fair trade. I buy sweatshop clothes because that's the easiest. It's hard work to find fair trade clothes, especially in France. But I could order it off the internet. But I don't. I'm sorry for traveling so much and using gas and all these things and all the rubbish that I create through traveling, like the plastic mugs that you go on a plane and there's so much rubbish. I'm overwhelmed sometimes by the amount of rubbish one human can produce, and I'm most probably better than most humans. I'm sorry for the times that I break my veganism and I eat dairy products. Like all this, I'm sorry for times that I can't be bothered with humans and I snap or I'm short-tempered, but it's the way that this body is. And then there's all these beautiful things that I've done too. It's the way we all are, and all of us have negative thoughts. All of us do things that aren't so great. And then all of us do things that are beautiful and are great, but ultimately it's not us. When you forget your connection to the divine, when you forget that you are the divine, then you as the person feel solely responsible for it and you rot in guilt. But remembering that the person is appearing from this divine source, from this uncontrollable source, and you were never in your control on the personal level, can relax the person and also help with the remembering that you are source. You are source. You are presence. When you're locked up in guilt and self-dislike, then you're just locked up in this tiny bundle that's trying to be liked, trying to get validation. You can still try to get validation after the awakening, but it's not so important anymore. Nothing is that important because you're not looking for home in it. Home is in everything.
Yeah, I think my problem is like you said, is when I try to share mostly the bright side of me.
You try to, yeah.
With people. So
because what you're actually doing...
I kind of hold on to it, and then that's why it causes so much stress, I think.
Yeah, and what you're doing when you're doing that is you're not actually being compassionate to other people, because you're enforcing other people, you're making other people be like that too.
But actually, I have sort of I attract people who I don't know how to say it, like when they share a lot of things with me, so I'm a listener kind of,
yeah,
to their bad stories.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah. But maybe by you not sharing yourself with them, to them there's an element of guilt that they are like that with you.
Yeah, I feel like uncomfortable. I don't know why, but I feel uncomfortable usually.
What, when they share their stories?
Yeah, like
Ooh.
there's probably many reasons, but one of them probably is like I feel obliged to my self-image. That makes sense, and they kind of invite me to share some of my stories that aren't so good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So how do you feel in your body now? Sorry, I just knocked something over. I just want to check that the internet's still running.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. The connection off. I'm so rubbish.
That's alright.
Okay, it's back on again now. Table that I'd nicely lent to stop the sound from the computer. Yeah. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, so it's quite a save. My hands are sweaty and
And how does it feel in your heart? Hello?
oh sorry, I was kind of tuning in. it's it's a bit numb.
Yeah.
And there's a like a pain here and there.
Yeah. So just let all of that in. Like, let that attention in. Just move it through the body. This is where life is. You've zoned out, you've cut your body off because of this guilt, that you feel guilty for being you. And you believe it's your responsibility, that this life is your responsibility. And you're responsible for how it is and how the way you are. And that's too overwhelming, so you cut out from that. So just move the attention around the body, if it's numb, if it's uncomfortable, and feel that alive presence, that there is something that's watching it, and this I am. This aliveness, that this is, and that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing you need to fix. The movement is here. The movement to freedom is here, is recognizing that this is where freedom is.
When you said that, I relaxed a bit.
Yeah.
So I guess it was it.
Yeah. Oh, I can tell you that the reason that you're stressed out is because you believe in some way that I have something that you don't, and you believe in getting it. The way that you get it is by me liking you, is by me giving you attention or me saying things to you. But I don't think that you're that conscious of that. It's all about love. You think that that love that you seek is in me. It's not in me as in you having me. It's just in me giving you the right attention, the right words. You getting the responses that you believe fulfill it. The responses that you were taught as a child, the responses that your parents gave you. So you feel if I respond to you in that way and you achieve love from me, you'll be complete. And then you'll get to that moment of contentment, you'll arrive. But your arrival is already here. It's right here in what's happening. The reason that you cut off from your body is because you've put all your attention into the game of seeking, into the game of imagining and getting, and you've cut off from sensation because you believed they were too vulnerable. They changed, they moved, you got them, you lost them. They were overwhelming, they were too big, they were out of control. You're afraid of your feelings. And there's nothing to be afraid of in feeling. It's seeing that freedom doesn't come from a feeling. Freedom is behind all feelings. Freedom is inside all feelings. Freedom is in what's happening, is in what is always is when the freedoms come and go, when the feelings come and go. There is a freedom here, in this, as this. And that feels relaxing to you because there's a part of you that knows it's true, and there's a part of you that's been totally stressed out by trying to get things in time. Not get things in time, but complete yourself in time. There's nothing wrong with getting things in time. That's what we do as humans.
Lots of thoughts, like arguing or like agreeing.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
But you can expose one if you want, like an arguing thought.
It's not so much arguing, it's more like, no, but I have different problems you don't understand, kind of, this kind of
Yeah.
narrative.
Yeah. I don't say these words easily. I've lived a very dynamic life. I know I'm only 37, but I come from a lot of life experience. I don't look like that. I dress like a regular, mostly like a regular woman, slightly a little bit strange. People always say I'm a little strange. But I look-wise, I look quite regular, as if I've not had such a dynamic life. But I've a very dynamic life, so what I say doesn't come easily, like in the sense that it sounds like I say it as if I haven't experienced things difficult things in this life. I've experienced lots of pleasure and lots of beauty, but I've also experienced very difficult situations as well. Just like anyone that's got to a certain age, like life goes, it brings things, it takes things away, it brings things, it takes things away. But because I'm quite young, people think that I haven't really experienced that yet. So they think sometimes that what I'm speaking is, I haven't really experienced the grittiness of life, but I was very fortunate to experience very gritty things from a very young age, as well as very many beautiful things. But I really had to face life very young, that life takes as well as it gives. It gives and takes, it gives and takes.
I think on my side it was more like, usually in my childhood I had to conform to the situation rather than be like, be sure that my feelings will be taken into account. So I think I projected that now, so.
Yeah. Your feelings do count, and you don't have to be in a situation where the people around you do not consider or count for your feelings. You can move situations. I think a lot of us have experienced that. A lot of us came from families or relationships where we were taught to not express our feelings or our thoughts because it was too complicated, and that we were appreciated when we stayed silent. I think a lot of people experience that dynamic.
Yeah, and I think in terms of non-duality, it's sort of, it's convenient because it's a lot about silence. So
It's what?
It's mostly about silence. So.
Yeah. There is, but the silence is behind the person. And it's almost like the person has to become itself, most fully itself, and in becoming most fully itself, it's like a see-through. When you're trying to be something else than what you are, then it's like you build all these layers of self. This is what they call ego. So it's almost like the person has to relax to extent to become see-through, has to become more in line, more honest and more true to itself. Not totally, like I admit openly that I can see in situations, I'm an intelligent person, that there are people that aren't educated in psychology or in this subject, and they wouldn't be able to handle my true expression. So therefore I just limit my interactions there. I just try to make my life as open as it can be, but I also respect that my honesty and my truth can really hurt people if they've not been into this situation. So I just try and pick my situations as best I can. So, but you're also free in a way, like ultimately there is no chooser and there is no doer, but on the relative human level, you're free to move your situation and to discriminate like that, to realize that there's people that aren't going to accept you, that aren't going to allow you the freedom to be yourself, and to move away from that. You know, often we stay in those situations as a form of victimhood. A martyrdom. So what's happening in your body now? You're allowed to be angry with me, you're allowed to reject me, you're allowed to love what I say, you're allowed anything. There isn't a right or wrong here.
It's hard to tell if it's excitement or stress.
Maybe a bit of a mix of both.
Maybe. I mean, when you say I'm allowed to express my feelings, I got like a big emotion, like almost to cry. But
you are allowed to show yourself.
It sort of feels like you like I wait for your permission.
Yeah.
I don't give permission myself.
Yeah. Yes, that's nice to see that. And you are allowed to show yourself. You don't have to hide. You're absolutely valid as you are in all the complexities of being human. And you don't need to wait for someone else to validate that. Your own presence validates that.
What when, like, sometimes I might feel hateful, but I never react on it.
Yeah.
Not like hateful, but like just mean.
Yeah.
Or like rude.
Yeah. And that's okay. You don't need to react on it, because it's not like, I'm not suggesting that everyone acts out all their hatred thoughts and their mean thoughts, but you're allowed to admit that. So you're now, if you do feel rude or mean or spiteful, you're allowed to absolutely admit that. So with me, because I can take it, I'm not suggesting other people, you've got to be wise in the people that you share things with, because other people might not be into this subject, and so you actually, by being honest and being yourself, it might be damaging to them, and that's not our goal, to damage or hurt other people. But what you can do here is you can admit it. So say if you had a spiteful thought like, oh, shut up, Lisa, you don't know what you're talking about, rather than just snapping it out at me, you could just say more reflectively, I'm having feelings coming up like you don't know what you're talking about, or distrustful feelings coming up, or spiteful feelings coming up. So you can say it in a wise way. You don't have to just act it out. So that's what I do when I'm in relationship with people, is I try my best to just be as honest with them, not as in acting it out, not being nasty and snapping at them, although sometimes I snap, but, you know, and I say something rude, but I try my best to just say it honestly. I'm having thoughts like this, or feelings like this, or ideas like this, or whatever. It's all part of being human. What we like is we like often listening to spiritual teachers that tell us that being enlightened or being spiritual is not having any of this, because if we do that, then we can live in the hope that we'll never feel these feelings. But I think being spiritual is just, it's on the human level being human, and any possibility of any feeling and any thought can come up. And then, but it's also having this presence, so this unattachment to it. There's no longer an attachment to being human. There's no longer an attachment to feelings. So you don't believe that having particular feelings bring you freedom. Freedom is your presence, and then the feelings come and go, the thoughts come and go.
I didn't have any like hateful things, or I wasn't angry with you.
Okay.
Today, just like there was one situation, like one moment when you asked me how I feel, and I kind of struggled to describe it, and I don't know, I thought or I felt that you might be getting frustrated or angry.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's true.
I can't remember. I could. Sometimes I do get frustrated with people when I'm speaking with them, but I can't remember feeling that in our interaction.
Because I think I'm causing this kind of in many people.
Yeah, but can I say to you that if I do get frustrated or annoyed with you, I don't see that as something about you really. It's just what's happening in me. It's just my particular program responding in a certain way. And that's not saying that you're unlovable. Ultimately, I totally love you for what you are. It's just that my being will have a certain input. So when people press or do certain things, I respond in a certain way. And that's to do with my parents, my condition, my up-to-date conditioning. And it's not saying anything about you. You're totally lovable as you are. And my frustration, if I feel frustration, I don't remember feeling it in this conversation. I remember a moment of frustration about kicking over my computer, and because I tried to but I don't remember it being directed at you. But if I were, that's not saying that you're unlovable. That's just my feelings, and that's my expression coming up. You're totally lovable and totally perfect the way you are. And I'm totally lovable and perfect, even if I feel frustration. I don't need to be a perfect human being to be loved, and neither do you. There is no such thing as a perfect human being. The perfection is our nature. Life is messy. It's one thing and another thing. It goes from one side to the other side.
Yeah, I kind of thought it's about sorting myself out, and then yeah, like I don't know. I feel kind of like if I were to call you one day and I wasn't stressed, that's it. If you know what I mean, like that's then I'm fine.
That would be the best thing.
Yeah, when I don't need your help.
Yeah, but all of that, what happens in your brain is actually what you're projecting, is that when you call me with no stress and you don't need my help, then I will fully love you, or then you will be fully loved. Actually, that love that you're seeking has got nothing to do with that level. The love that you're seeking is the presence of being, is this alive presence that's here. It's all mental structures that we believe freedom is in our thoughts or our feelings, and freedom is in your essence, and thoughts and feelings come and go. They get so tangled and they get so confused when you believe that freedom is in a particular way of being, and then you're stressed to try and produce that way of being, produce a certain feeling. And that's where the stress really kicks in, that you've got to do or be something. You've got to be better than what you are. But you're absolutely perfect being stressed. You're absolutely perfect, all colours of yourself. And that self will begin to even out and become more balanced the more and more it's seen that what you seek is presence, not a thing, not a behaviour, not a way of being. It's here. It's that empty looking and that sense of I am. Like, who is looking at that person that's stressed now? Who's experiencing that? That person that's stressed now, that person that wants to be something else, is not the experiencer, it's being experienced. While you believe that that person is the experiencer, then you're always trying to get to the best possible you. That person is being and is held in perfect, brilliant stillness. It's that empty looker that's the freedom. It's seeing that that person never experienced a thing. That person has always been experienced. And that there is this emptiness in which it all appears, and this love, the I am part as well. And we worked a bit on the person, and you can work on the person, on the feelings and what's happening, and you can depict the person, but the final freedom is the movement back to that stillness. That stillness is looking out of the eyes now. Not you, not the one that feels complete or incomplete.
But I do feel like I'm doing something wrong, or like I'm stuck, kind of.
Yeah, that's the feeling of the person. So just recognize that and recognize where that feeling is in the body. Just feel that, just allow that to be there. So you, the personal you, feels like there's something wrong or incomplete about it, and of course it will when it's identified, it always does. But notice that there is something that's watching that is not affected either way. There is a presence that's never affected. So this empty watching and this sense of I am, and that's never affected. So you just go right inside that feeling of discomfort. That's where presence is. Right inside whatever's happening, this is where presence is. It's inside everything. It is everything.
I'm trying to hold on to what you're saying, so like
Yeah.
I'm already thinking, oh, I'm gonna download this, I'm gonna keep repeating this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. That's what the mind does. And then there's the presence. Just let it seek. It's seeking in this will that's appearing in a boundless freedom. It's like seeking in a small space, and then it appears in this endless freedom. It's okay, just let it all happen. It's all happening. Hello, are you still there?
Hello? Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Well, maybe that we finish now and I move on to someone else. But that was so beautiful. Thank you for giving the space and allowing me to speak and not always trying to fill the silence. I really appreciate that when somebody organically lets it happen. Sometimes people call and they're always trying to fill the space, the silence, because they feel nervous. But you were quite happy to allow that nervousness to come up and allow that to come up and to explore it. So thanks for that.
Yes, I think like kind of have a tendency to thank people to please them, so but I hope you know it's a genuine thank. So thank you.
Ah, sweet. Ah, thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you, bye.
And I felt so intimate, that conversation. That was nice.